Welcome back to Game Hydro. We're doing another video about Cell Survivor Shoot Defense, and we're going to tell you which skills are the best in the whole game, which weapons rather are the best in the whole game, and we're going to make a tier list out of all of them and rank them from S tier, A tier, B tier, all the way down to C tier. So stay tuned. The best skills in the game may surprise you. But they will certainly help you get as far as possible. Now we are demonstrating the Disinfectant Bubble, a hair, and the Magic Book. So the Magic Book obviously is the skill that you can only get by making an in-app purchase. Is it worth it? Now, I really like the splash damage potential of this skill on vertical stages. It will be a little less useful on round stages, but on vertical stages it's excellent, especially because it's so easy to aim, and you can keep the closest segment of the virus from getting too close to you, and have a ton of splash damage behind you too, as you can see from what I'm doing right here. So I am definitely giving the Magic Book an A+, because the splash damage potential here is undeniable. Mine is only at level 1, so the damage is a little low, but as you level it up, the damage will certainly get much better. Alright, next up, we got... Alright, let me revive this so I can continue my video. During this go-around, we are demonstrating the special effects tablet, the massage stick, and the Snot Dragon. So, we're going to give those ones tier levels as well. Snot Dragon, I like this one. It's a really good beginner skill. It flies around and does damage and auto-targets enemies. It's upgradable to much higher damage into a little bit higher quantity of them. So, it's a good beginner skill, but you kind of find yourself not using it that much after you get the tadpoles and after you start unlocking more skills. So I'm giving this one a B+ because it still has usefulness, and it's good in both vertical stages and round stages. Next skill is the massage sticks. The massage sticks, also a good skill for beginners. They don't really do a ton of damage until you start upgrading the quantities of them, but you can upgrade the quantities super high, and you can upgrade the critical chance far higher on this for more common skills than you can with a lot of others. They're kind of useless on round levels. I would give them about A tier on vertical level, so my overall rating for the massage stick is going to be a B tier. Now, the special effects tablet, this is a purple skill right here. As you can see, it flies up and flies back like a boomerang. And on the way back, you can set enemies on fire. It does damage. It does burn damage over time for about 5 seconds or so. There's a good upgrade to the massage stick. That causes it to boomerang. That makes a massage stick extra useful. But the special effects tab, it does do quite a bit of damage up and down when you combine how much the impact damage and the fire damage add up. It's a little bit less useful on round stages compared to vertical stages, and I really don't find myself using it all that frequently other than to make this video. So I'm going to give that one I'm going to give that one an A- tier because the damage over time is pretty hard to argue with. Right now we're demonstrating the cotton swab, the spinning daggers, the tadpoles, and the medical towers. So the cotton swab, as you can see, it's that orange spinny thing that you get right at the beginning of the game. That is absolutely an S tier skill. It just sits around forever and does a whole buttload of damage, no matter whether you're in a circular stage or a vertical stage. Now, the medical tower, that's what's creating the array of lasers right there. I'm giving that an S- tier only because it does less damage than the spinning daggers, even with upgrades. But it's a little bit more useful in vertical stages as well as round stages. Borderline S tier, but S minus. The spinning daggers, as you can see in round stages, they're an absolute cheat code because they just hang around and do completely ridiculous levels of damage. So during vertical stages, they are not necessarily super good. They are useful for keeping enemies from getting a little too close to you, though. So overall, I'm going to give them S minus because they're not very useful in vertical stages, but in round stages, circular stages, they're S plus 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 plus. They're almost completely. You can sometimes not win without them, depending on the stage. Although cotton swabs in round stages, severely underrated. I used to think that they were mostly good for vertical stages, but for round stages, they are just as good. And then final one I'm demonstrating is the Tadpoles. They're kind of just there. They fly around similarly to the Snot Dragon, but they don't last as long. But you can shoot off more of them at a time, and they can be upgraded much more highly. I think they're pretty useful. They're a little bit more useful for vertical stages and round stages. I am going to give them an A minus tier. Yeah, that's what I'm going to give them. All right, next up we got a hair. So you can see that a hair is that whiplash thing that's popping up. You start off with only one of them, and you can upgrade the quantities a lot. Now, they do a ton of splash damage, but they don't do any continuous damage. They just hit once and then go away. So the overall damage ends up being slightly lower than you would want. Let's boost the damage there. You do get pretty high percentage damage boosts on this one compared to some of the others, so that's certainly a plus. I'm going to give a hair a B plus because you don't need to aim it and you can upgrade the quantities a lot. No, I'm going to give it a B. I would put it behind some of the other ones. And the Disinfectant bubble, that's one of the beginner skills, but it's one of the better ones, I would say. They just bounce around and do large amounts of damage when they hit. Now, a lot of bounces are wasted in vertical levels by hitting the walls and hitting the floor, but they're much more useful in round levels where you start off in the middle of the stage because they'll more easily bounce off of different parts of the virus. So that one I'm going to give an A minus to because they're almost S tier in round levels, but they're B to B plus tier in vertical levels. So not useless in vertical levels. They certainly do have their uses, just not as useful as they could be. All right, now we're demonstrating the acupuncture needles, the scalpel, and the roulette. So the roulette, this one's a tough one because each spin of the roulette gives you a new skill to use. However, it takes so freaking long to spin the roulette that's lots of wasted time. And no matter how good of a skill you get from it, it just isn't worth it. And there's no telling whether you're going to get a good skill or a bad skill. The roulette, to me, is almost completely useless. It's one of the only orange skills or legendary skills in the game, and it's kind of a turd to me. So I'm going C tier on this one, at best. All right, the acupuncture needles. I like the acupuncture needles because they split. When they hit, they split into multiple needles and then fly all over the screen. You only start off with one of them to shoot, but you can upgrade the quantity very easily and very high. So you end up shooting like 5-6 needles at a time. Not only can the ease of aim cause them to almost take the place of your capsule, but they do a lot of damage, especially with the overtime hits. They're equally useful, in my opinion, on both vertical stages and round stages. I'm giving them an S- tier. I use them a lot. And then the next one I'm demonstrating is the large scalpel. The large scalpel is decent on vertical stages, but it doesn't do any damage over time. It just hits once, which makes it not quite that useful. It does do a lot of damage per solo hit, and it's easy to aim, and you can use it. Especially the sword portion of it, the melee portion of it, hits multiple times, but the beam that it shoots off only hits once. Blade damage 50. Yeah, buddy. So for that reason, this one gets a B- tier from me. The reason it doesn't get a C tier is because the sword can do a lot of damage. But we're going to... Now we just got the acupuncture. Okay, never mind. That's the split quantity, not the shot quantity. But just trust us, the shot quantity is real good. It's one of the beginner skills anyway, so you probably used it already right at the beginning of the game. On this one, we're demonstrating the Defibrillator and the Hyperostosis. So the Hyperostosis sends bones up in the middle of the path of the virus and does continued damage over time. The targeting is automatic. It starts off with just one bone, but then turns into a lot of bones because you can upgrade the quantities pretty easily. I would say it's about equally useful on vertical and circular levels. The initial damage is pretty low, but it can be upgraded, and the fact that it's damage over time kind of improves the cause there. So for that one, I'm going to go B+ tier. It's pretty useful to me. Next one we're demonstrating is the Defibrillator. The Defibrillator can be a little hard to see, but it's those lightning bolts there. Now, the Defibrillator, it targets completely randomly. There's no splash damage. There's no damage over time. It's just one randomly placed hit, and possibly, depending on what upgrades you have, damage to something next to it. So I am not really seeing the advantage here of the Defibrillator. It's terrible. I'm going with C- here, but only because I can't really give it an F tier. Otherwise, I would give it an F tier. But I can't give it an F tier because there's no D tier. So C- is where this one sits. The Defibrillator, trash. Useless. Not worse than useless, just useless. It does not help me at all. We have a few more skills that we have not yet unlocked, but as I think we've clearly demonstrated, the later unlocked skills are not necessarily the better ones, and in most cases they are the worse ones. So yet to be unlocked are Band-Aid, Satellite Storm, Laser Scalpel, Gout, Mosquito Swatter, and Nitrogen Machine. So those orange skills, you can unlock them by beating these daily dungeons over here. And then the other ones, as you saw, you can unlock at various levels and after beating various chapters. So we're going to update this video, well, I can't really update the video after uploading it, so I'm going to add these skills into the description of this video as I unlock them, and I will add them to the tier list and give my reasoning for it as well. But yes, this is the tier list for Cell Survivor Shoot Defense. Hope you liked it. Hope it was useful to you. So, yeah, my favorite skills in here: Spinning Dagger, Sterile Swab, and Spinning Dagger for sure, as well as the Small Medical Tower. And then runner-ups include Acupuncture, Hyperostosis, and possibly Tadpole. Those are my favorites. And yeah, if you want to write down which ones are S tier, A tier, B tier, etc., go ahead and grab a pen and paper. You can do just that. All right, this is Game Hydro. Thank you for watching. please like and subscribe.